Totally forgot to turn my mic on. There we go. Okay. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Boss Life with Bonds. I am your host, Siobhan Bonnie, or Siobhan Bonds, whichever one rings best for you. And today I wanted to come back and revisit the topic of what happens when we wait part two. But before I do, I just want to brag on myself real quick, okay? I have been president of Toastmasters Winter Park Club 3674, and we are we're pretty intense. We have a strict dress code. Everybody dresses up. We have a fee. Some clubs don't have fees, but we're pretty intense, and I'm super proud to be back. Where am I at? And I won my first trophy since being back for best speaker. Hey, and I don't know, just it feels good to be back. And it also is really cool to be able to reflect and see how much I've grown as a speaker, my level of confidence, my level of just everything, to see the improvement. So if you are someone that is wanting to get better at speaking, wanting to get better at any particular thing in your life, I highly encourage you. These glasses are getting on my nerves today. I highly encourage you to join something that's actually going to challenge you and get you out of your comfort zone so that you can continue to grow. We're going to jump right into today's episode because it was supposed to be a one-parter, just, talk about what happens when you wait. But I felt so compelled to come back and visit this topic again because there were so many more things that came up for me to support the original points that we had there. This is getting on my nerves, and I haven't updated my board, so my background isn't as pretty and as cute as I'd like it to be. But we're gonna run it. So this episode, we're talking about what happens when we wait. More specifically, what happens when we procrastinate. And the main thing that I was harping on last time is that when we procrastinate, we are prolonging our own pain, and we're also prolonging our own possibilities. And I wanted to linger. I wanted to dive in a little bit deeper because I feel like I was going a little shallow on the first episode and maybe not being as transparent as I wanted to be. So when we procrastinate, we miss out, right? We miss out on the lessons that we are supposed to learn that would take us to the next stage. And so what I said last time was that when we procrastinate, we prolong the inevitable. We prolong the inevitable pain of the suffering that we're going through, and we prolong the inevitable blessing of what's to come next. And a lot of times the blessing that we are waiting to come for us isn't coming because we are not the person that we need to be. And I've heard this recently from someone in one of my mini entrepreneurial spaces. And it was a post about how sometimes we're not getting what we want because we're not asking the universe the right questions, right? Sometimes we'll ask, why me? Or we'll ask, how long is this going to take? And that's not the right question to ask, right? The right question to ask is, what am I missing? Or who do I need to become in order to get to that next level? And a lot of times, we're not becoming the person that we need to get to the next level because we're procrastinating, tackling some of these tasks head on, right? I want you to think about whenever you've been stuck in a certain stage in your life and you've been questioning God, questioning the universe, wondering, how long is this going to take? Or why isn't the blessing coming? Or where are the clients? Where is the promotion? When am I going to be able to breathe again? When am I going to, not feel like my neck is getting stepped on 24/7? Like, when will this end? And that's not the right question to be asking, right? I've been asking God some pretty similar questions too, like, what am I missing? Which is way better than why me. But I realized that the thing that's missing the most is me being who I need to be in order for me to go to the next season. So a little bit of transparency. I have plateaued at the amount of clients that my business brings in or has at a certain amount of time. It's like if we lose a client, then we usually just gain one or two more. And I'm not complaining by any means. I'm not complaining. But what I have noticed is that no matter what, I can't seem to get past this number. And as I was listening to another podcast that was talking about 3 things that might keep you stuck that you don't realize, she said, are you calling in something like 10 more clients into your business? And if so, do you have the systems in place to support 10 new people should they all need 911 emergency hardcore support? And I had to sit there and really face the facts that like I'm asking for the universe to bless me with more clients and more this and more that. And the universe is looking at me like, but you are not becoming the woman that can handle that. You are not being the leader who puts the systems in place so that you can stand that level of capacity. You're just asking for more without leveling up. So a lot of times we procrastinate with doing things. And I know for me specifically, my personal reason for procrastinating, for not doing those things that I know needs to get done, is simply because of a lack of belief in myself. I allowed little things. I want you to write this down. Nothing means anything. Okay. Nothing means anything. Everything is data. You can take it as negative. You can take it as positive. You can take it as neutral. But when things would happen in my business, like let's say this week, somebody got an automatic email that they weren't supposed to get. We still don't know why they got it. I don't know why they got it. And it was just awkward. And I used to take things like that in my head and get really embarrassed and be like, see, this is why you can't scale, because how are you going to handle hundreds of clients when you can't even get your email marketing together? Or if someone's payment didn't get processed because I, did something different for them, gave them a special offer, or set them up differently than I normally do, my brain would immediately say, oh, see, you can't get any better because look at all these little mistakes that you have here. You're going to lose money. You're going to do this and that. So what happened was I prolonged this season of stagnancy in my business because of a lack of belief in my ability to do anything more. So some of the times when we're procrastinating, especially with us ADHD people, it's not just because you're lazy. Like there's some executive dysfunctioning going on, right? But another perspective of why we procrastinate is because at the root of it all, there is a deep belief that we're not capable of handling anything more. So why bother? Which brings me to point number one about what happens when we wait. What happens when we procrastinate is that it keeps you in survival mode. And I know we touched on this on the first episode of this, where I said, it prolongs the pain, but it keeps you in survival mode. When there are things that you know that you need to do that are going to move the needle forward in your life, in your business, in your personal growth, in your spirituality, and you don't do them, rather than continue to beat yourself up about how good you're not, rather than distract yourself and watch Netflix late at night when you know that you could probably be up planning the next day so that you can wake up early and work out like you say you want to, right? Rather than doing those things, we prolong the inevitable, we procrastinate. And the reason for that is because there's a deep rooted belief that even if we do the work, it's not going to move the needle forward. Or even if we do the work, we're not good enough to deserve the blessing. Or even if we do the work, it's just not going to work out. And sometimes life beats us up so much that we lose faith. And that's exactly what happens with so many of us. Waiting till or procrastinating keeps you from planning for the future. An example, I today will be watching the replay of one of my friends. Her name is Money with Maggie on Instagram. She's amazing. I think her family are immigrants, and she tells her story about being so happy about being here in the States. She's Indian and she is beautiful. She is talented. She is so wise about money. Give her a follow, Money with Maggie. I missed the live training for this yesterday because part of my brain is still trying to like scramble. Like I'm still putting out fires in my business right now. And my default mode is to go back to survival mode, which is don't think about anything else other than getting out of this pit. And don't get it twisted. Like there are seasons of your life where you need to be hyper focused on surviving, where you need to be hyper focused on moving the needle forward, where you need to be focused on what is the next easiest step that I can take to move the needle in my life. Like there will be seasons where that's what you got to do. But by me kind of brushing off that I missed her investing class, where is the root of that coming from? The root of me not caring that I missed the class yesterday, the root of me not prioritizing, which resulted in procrastination of taking the course, the root belief behind that not getting done is that I will never get to the point where I'm able to invest. So what does it matter anyways? Now, before you guys come for me, oh my gosh, how could you say that? Oh my God, mindset this, mindset that. I want you guys to realize that I'm still a human, right? I'm human. Your coaches are human. Your mentors are human. Just because I understand how mindset works, just because I understand how to help you and myself rewire and master your mindset, doesn't mean that I'm at the top of Mount Olympus with no worries, with no stresses, and with no human thoughts. That's not how that works. It's not what happens, right? We all fall victim to the battlefield of the mind. And so I was able to reverse engineer and work backwards. Like, now I was excited to sign up for this course. Why did I not show up for it? And the reason being that there is a deep rooted belief that it's not going to matter anyways. And so maybe you've noticed that you procrastinate with things, and it could be because you are stuck in survival mode. If you're procrastinating with making moves in your business, maybe not the exact move that I just mentioned, but something in your life and your business that you're not taking action on, it could be because you don't see a future where that's even a possibility. If you're procrastinating with exercise and with working out, there is a large, there's probably, if you get to the deep rooted part of it, there's a piece of you that doesn't believe that if you do the work that it's going to make a difference. So why even bother? This is what happens when we wait. This is what happens when we procrastinate. We prolong our own pain and we stay in survival mode. When we do this, we unconsciously or unintentionally are also self sabotaging for the future. Because let's say I never get around to taking this investment course. When I'm done putting out fires in my business next month, next week, whatever, if I continue to function the way that I was before, if I continue to not invest our money to set us up for a nice cushion in the future, guess what might happen? I may be right back where I started, putting out fires, trying to figure out how to make things work because I didn't believe that I'd ever be here. And I see this happen a lot. I see this happen with my fitness clients, and I see it happen in business. So I'll give you both examples. As a fitness client, the person that procrastinates with learning to log their food or looking at their numbers, like I did in my business, I procrastinated looking at my business for so long, looking at numbers in my business for so long until I had no choice but to look at them face up. And it was like, holy crap, I need to get this under control. And once I got it under control, now it's time for me to start looking at, okay, now that we've gotten everything under control, what's the next step? How can we invest? How can we increase our profits? That's thriving thinking. But if I had this idea that I was never ever going to get there, right? And I got out of survival mode, and now the business is just booming again. We have all this money and I never invest, I'll end up right where I was. And this is what happens with lottery winners. People that never took the time to educate themselves on financial literacy. They get the money, right? We all get I've been manifesting, been praying, got a miracle. You get the money and then you don't know what to do with it. So you end up right back where you are. This is what happens when you procrastinate. Clients that never want to track their food, never want to look at the scale, never want to look at their numbers, right? They may do the work, they may lose the weight. And then what happens? Because they procrastinated on doing the tough stuff first, right? And because they didn't do the hard shit first, they are now suffering the consequences of, damn, I really don't. A good example, I have a client that came to me after working with another coach for about a year. Coach never taught them, this wasn't her fault. The coach never taught her what macros or calories were or how to keep up with her own food or any sort of nutrition education. And so even though she spent all this money on a coach, she still has no idea how to read labels. She doesn't know how much protein is in this. She doesn't know how to eat. And this is a little bit of a different example because it was, they didn't teach her, but still I have clients that I try to teach them stuff like this and they avoid it because they just don't, oh, it's too overwhelming or they're not ready. And it's like, it's not going anywhere, right? At one point, you're going to have to face the facts that like you are eating more than you're moving and you're not understanding where this fat is coming from. Procrastination prolongs the pain and it keeps you in survival mode, and you cannot thrive from survival mode. So keep that in mind. Point number 2 about what happens when we wait. The reason why it's so shitty for future you is because by not taking action, right, you are not aligned with the highest version of yourself. Think for a moment of the future version of yourself that you are working towards. Whether you're working towards a job promotion, whether you're working towards becoming a six-figure CEO, whether you're working towards becoming a better mother, a better speaker, a better leader, a better anything. When you think about what better looks like to you, the way that we get to that version of ourselves is that we kind of have a bit of a clear image of who they are, how they function, how they walk, how they talk. And if you don't, heads up, that's how you manifest. That's how you become your highest self. That's how the timelines shift, is that you get this clear idea of who it is that you want to be, and then you go be them, like in the present right now. So what that would look like is if I said I want to be a six-figure CEO, instead of waiting until I make six figures, I start learning how to invest now so that I can do those things. Instead of saying I'm going to be fit and healthy and do all these things and run the beach in my bathing suit. Some people would say wear the bathing suit now because that's embodying her, and that's cool. I'm with that. But I also think that what's cool is that you get to do things that that type of woman would do, right? That type of woman would probably not drink a whole bunch of sodas every day. That type of woman would probably not throw back as many beers as often. Like, this is what it means to embody the best version of yourself. And when we don't embody that next level, that next version of ourselves, we will never become them, right? Embodying the future you is doing the things that would set you up for success, or doing the, like, you wouldn't put things off to the last minute. You wouldn't put things off until there's a fire. The future you has learned all of these lessons. The future you has scraped her knees and cut her elbows, and she knows better than to wait to the last minute. So if you are trying to create change in your life, or if you are trying to quickly manifest something, procrastinating is doing you obviously a disservice, but it's keeping you so far away from your goals just because it's keeping your mind stuck on the present instead of visioneering toward the future. If I could identify one major bottleneck in my business and in my personal life this year, and it hasn't been like this in a long time, it's that I didn't have a clear vision for where I wanted to be this year. There were 1,000 different things that I wanted to do. I wanted to be on the reality TV show. I did that. I wanted to go speak at a conference. I was able to have my presentation showed at a conference. I wanted to do all these things, but I didn't have one clear goal and outcome. And as a result, for this year, I'm sitting here wondering, like, dang, did I hit it? But in past years, the reason why I was able to be so successful so rapidly is because I had a very clear target. And everything that I did on the way to that target, it had to pass the test of, is this in alignment with her? Is this in alignment with where she wants to be? But when we don't have a clear target, when we're not 100% certain about where we want to end up, it's extremely hard for you to set your sights on something and move forward. So if you feel like procrastination is something that you struggle with, I want you to ask yourself, do I have a clear heading? Do I know exactly where it is that I want to go? Or am I kind of just like moving, hoping that I get there? I'm not saying that you have to have everything figured out, but what I am saying is that if you want to get where you're going, you have to know where you're going. If you want to get where you're going, you have to know where you're going. And more often than not, even in fitness, I see women not getting to their goals. And I'm like, well, what's your goal? To be healthy. Okay, well, what does healthy look like? Can you define a destination in healthy? And then maybe you'll be able to um, align and embody faster, right? Prolonging or procrastinating also does a disservice to others. When I prolong or when I procrastinate or when I withhold something, I'm a hippie, right? I'm really big on the collective. I'm really big on us showing up not only for ourselves but for the community, because my messages may land on the ears of someone that needs to hear them. Your transparency may be the light that shines into somebody else. My tough love and wisdom may wake you up. Somebody else's soft, feminine, loving, nurturing flow may be the message I need to hear today. We are connected. We are here together. We are put on this planet not to be alone. We are the collective. And we do ourselves a disservice. We do the entire collective a disservice when we don't show up as us, right? Because we all have something beautiful. We all have something significant and unique to bring to the picture. And too often we hold that back from people. One of the things I love to say is that what's aligned for you is aligned for me. Meaning we're a collective. We are all in this together. So if it is an alignment for me, if I feel called to start a gym or open a gym, guess what? That's an alignment with the woman who was too afraid to ever go to the gym because she never felt comfortable. So it isn't so my desires, my manifestations are in alignment with other people's. Think of some of the things that you desire to have or desire to accomplish, right? Think of how many other people would be so blessed just by you accomplishing that. That's the game kicker. Like that's so important because we oftentimes, especially as women, we start to feel selfish for wanting things. We feel selfish for wanting to be successful. We feel selfish for wanting to have achievements. And it's like, take a moment, right? And think of who's going to be blessed by you having the desires of your heart. If the desires of your heart are to have a family, but you don't have a family yet because you don't date, and you don't date because you have low self-esteem, and rather than do the things that are going to help you with your self-esteem, rather than start taking care of your body, rather than exercising, rather than working on your personal development, you just continue to eat and potato and self-isolate. Well, that partner who's also waiting for you never gets that person that they were supposed to have. That baby never gets born. That life that you were supposed to create never happens. Or maybe it does. But I want you to know that as long as you're procrastinating, you are prolonging not only your pain, but the pain of others. You matter. And I think that that is the biggest thing that I want you to take away from this is that you matter. You may think that your procrastination only affects you and your friends, but I can tell you right now, there are women in my community and my client community that have held back from telling their story, that are procrastinating with telling their story, and their story could be the one thing that sets another woman free. Me procrastinating with my business, like there were women looking, needing a spiritual life and fitness coach, but me procrastinating, who knows? I'm not saying like I'm responsible for them, but what I want to remind you, like that you matter. We are all connected. The collective is connected. And by you putting your one foot in front of the other, by you embodying the highest version of you, by you taking messy action to align with your goals, by you, right? Getting out of survival mode and thinking into the future, thinking what thriving looks like, thinking of what is the highest possibility for me, right? Your thinking, your knowing, your ability to show up, your presence, your unique perspective, everything that you bring to the table, right, is a blessing to somebody else. So the next time that you feel like you don't matter, or the next time that you think that it is insignificant for you to show up, or that it doesn't really matter if you put this plan into action because it's not that big of a deal anyways, I want you to remember this: you matter. So while you're procrastinating, you're not only doing yourself a disservice, but there's somebody out there that would benefit from you showing up fully as yourself. So guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. That was everything that I wanted to get off my chest for now about what happens when we wait. I want to challenge you to sit down today, grab your journal, and think about some of the things that you have put on the back burner. Maybe it's procrastinating to tell someone you love them, right? Who knows? You could be in a happy relationship right now if you would be a little bit more transparent with yourself and let people know, or let that person know, hey, I'm actually madly in love with you. Maybe you have this idea that you want to present to, maybe it's a business proposal, maybe it's a collaboration, and you've been afraid to say something, but it's like when you speak up, when you stop procrastinating, that could be the very thing that people are waiting for. Your procrastination affects more than just you. So grab a piece of paper, sit down with yourself and ask, like, okay, what things have I put on the back burner? Who would benefit from me pursuing this? How would I benefit from me pursuing this? Right? How would my life be better if I took this off the back burner? But more importantly, I want you to do that exercise that I did with myself, which is work backwards. What is the core belief that is fueling this procrastination? Right? For me, it was this belief that even if I do take action, it's not going to make a difference. So ask yourself, is maybe the reason why you procrastinate because deep down inside, you don't believe that if you put one foot in front of the other, that it's not going to happen. And if that's a real thing, I would love for you to DM me and we could work through this. Like just like a little quick. I'm just going to drop a little quick voice memo in your head to help you like work through that. But I truly believe that this world would be the place of love and healing that it was meant to be if all of us were showing up as the version of us that we were meant to be. So, yep, guys, that's a wrap. I hope that you got some value from today's podcast. You know the deal. If you do, and you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, screenshot this episode, post it to your story, and tag me at Siobhan Bonnie on, or at Siobhan Bonds on Instagram. If you got something from this episode, like if it really touched you, I love to get DMs or get emails from you guys about how this helped you. Make sure that you share it with somebody. And then also, guys, if you're not subscribed to my emails, yes, they're for women, but there's a ton of nuggets and ton of wisdom for you, no matter what you are. So if you want, go ahead and click the link in my bio and subscribe. If you're, again, watching this any other way besides live or social media, all of this will be in the show notes. And last reminders, the Awaken the Goddess Within retreat in Puerto Rico, October 20th through the 23rd. Right now, we have 3 spaces available. So if you would like to come down there with us, we are having a women's awakening, sisterhood, bonfires, dancing, meditating, yoga, breakout sessions, photo shoots, the works. Make sure that you get signed up and reserve your spot ASAP. We only have 3 spots left. Love you guys to the moon and back. Thank you so much for showing up. I will see you guys next time on The Boss Life with Bonds. All right. That was a fun episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm going to go eat some food now because your girl is hungry. It said, or just do whatever you want before you die. Thank you so much for your insight. I'm so happy that you love the Soviet Union. I don't remember asking you that. Okay. All right. If you want to get where you're going, you got to know where you're going. I got to save that one. Like that's, I know I said it, but like, I got to save that one. I got to screenshot that. If you want to know where you're going, you want to get where you're going, you got to know where you're going. All right, we're out. We are out. Have a great weekend, guys. Thank you. Mm-mm-mm. And on YouTube, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm getting used to YouTube. I promise there's going to be even more videos. Because I'm starting to do product reviews for companies. I'm getting a bunch of free stuff, so that's fun. So I'll be doing product reviews mainly right now. It's for nutrition supplements because I'm in the fitness industry. But looking forward to doing product reviews and then also giving you guys some travel tips for being here in Orlando. I would love it if you would share this channel. We're trying to get our 500 subscribers so that we can monetize and so that I can slow down on the boss bitching and the CEOing. Like I wanna be able to teach and be in flow and do it in a safe space. And safe means having, for me, multiple streams of income. So that's what we're working on right now. That's how I'm building my boss life. So thank you so much, Chris, for being here. And you guys have the best day of your entire lives. And I'll see you next time.